Most people look at the Kawasaki Vulcan 900 and instantly file it under safe, boring cruiser. I did that too, until I actually slowed down and thought about what this bike is trying to be in 2026. And the more I compared it to newer cruisers chasing tech and horsepower, the more interesting the Vulcan 900 became. What surprised me first is how stubbornly unchanged this bike feels, and I don't mean that as an insult. In a market where cruisers are either going full retro cosplay or turning into muscle bikes, the Vulcan 900 just stays calm. I notice Kawasaki hasn't tried to reinvent it, and that restraint feels intentional. When I compare it to bikes like the Rebel 1100 or even Harley's newer Sportster lineup, the Vulcan 900 almost feels out of time. No ride modes, no massive touchscreen, no aggressive performance marketing. And yet, that simplicity is exactly why some riders quietly keep buying it year after year. Here's something most people miss. The Vulcan 900 isn't built to impress you on a spec sheet. It's built to disappear underneath you while riding. I've spent time thinking about why riders keep saying it feels easy, and it's not just the seat height or weight, it's the way the power comes in. The 903cc V-twin doesn't rush you. It doesn't spike torque to feel exciting in a parking lot test ride. Instead, it pulls smoothly, predictably, almost politely. That sounds boring on paper, but on real roads, that predictability builds confidence fast. I noticed this especially when comparing it to higher-strung cruisers. Some bikes constantly remind you they're powerful. The Vulcan 900 doesn't. It just keeps going, mile after mile, without asking for attention. Another misconception is that this bike is only for beginners. Yes, it's approachable. Yes, it's forgiving, but that doesn't mean it's disposable once you gain experience. What surprised me is how many experienced riders keep Vulcan 900s as long-term bikes, not as garage decorations, not as backups, as daily, dependable machines. The reason becomes obvious when you think about comfort. The seating position is neutral without being lazy. Your arms aren't stretched into a dramatic pose and your legs aren't folded awkwardly. It feels like a bike designed for actual riding, not Instagram angles. Here's a practical takeaway most reviews skip. If you ride for more than an hour at a time, comfort matters more than character. The Vulcan 900 quietly wins here, especially compared to cruisers that look cooler than they feel after 90 minutes. Another thing I kept thinking about is maintenance anxiety. In 2026, bikes are getting smarter but also more complicated. The Vulcan 900 feels refreshingly old school in the best way. No complicated electronics to worry about, no overwhelming software updates, just mechanical honesty. I noticed that riders who keep their bikes long-term often value this more than flashy features. It's not exciting to talk about, but it's exciting to live with. Now let's talk about weight, because this is where many people get scared. Yes, the Vulcan 900 isn't light. On paper, it looks intimidating, but most people miss how well that weight is balanced. Once it's moving, the bike feels planted, not bulky. At highway speeds, that stability becomes a strength, not a flaw. I compared this feeling to lighter cruisers that feel nervous in crosswinds. The Vulcan 900 stays calm. It tracks straight. It doesn't feel like it's constantly reacting to the road. Here's another insight that surprised me. This bike ages extremely well. A lot of modern bikes feel outdated in 3 or 4 years because tech moves on. The Vulcan 900 doesn't play that game. Its design isn't chasing trends, so it doesn't feel old when trends change. That's probably why used Vulcan 900s still hold emotional value for owners. They don't feel replaced, they feel familiar. One mistake people make is assuming the Vulcan 900 lacks personality. It's not loud about who it is, but that doesn't mean it has none. Its personality is calm confidence. It's the bike that doesn't need to prove itself. And honestly, that's rare now. I also noticed how customizable it is without being overwhelming. Seats, bars, exhausts, small changes actually make a big difference. You don't need to overhaul the bike to make it feel personal. That's a practical advantage if you like tuning a bike to your body instead of chasing horsepower numbers. So who is the 2026 Vulcan 900 really for? Not the rider who wants the fastest cruiser, not the rider who wants cutting-edge tech. It's for someone who values consistency, comfort, and trust. Someone who wants to ride without constantly managing the bike. And here's the part that surprised me the most. In a world obsessed with more, the Vulcan 900 feels like a reminder that enough can be satisfying. Enough power, enough comfort, enough style, enough reliability. When I step back and think about it, the Vulcan 900 isn't trying to win comparisons, it's trying to stay in your life. And that might be its smartest move in 2026. Personally, I don't see it as outdated anymore. I see it as quietly confident, patiently waiting for the right rider to notice that sometimes the best bike isn't the one that's loudest one, it's the one that keeps showing up, ride after ride.